In what ways do you think there are still systemic barriers to larger numbers of women in the profession and also rising up in the profession? There has clearly been important ground broken by people like yourself and earlier women at the bar, but quite clearly it hasn't been enough, perhaps, and in no way reflecting unfavourably on the work that was done and the role that was played by people like yourself. But what to you are the systemic barriers that remain to women rising up in the profession and being accepted to the point where we could all just say we are all barristers? We are not women barristers or men barristers, we are all barristers, for example.
Work hours. I would put it down significantly to work hours. I've been speaking to some solicitors and partners in firms about this recently, because again I went to the website of one of the large firms just to get a contact detail, and I was running through it. I'm thinking, where are the women? They were there, but they were dotted. And I thought, gee, I would have thought there would have been more women partners than that. And so I was talking about this to a partner in another firm, and he said they struggle with it, but there are equity problems that the firms have. They say that I don't know how correct this is, they say that there are client problems in terms of continuity by giving women lots of time off work. There's a belief that if you, there's a depth of experience issue, that if you've got a practitioner working half of the hours, then they're only going to get half of the experience, is the attitude. I was talking about this with Justice Ward, Julie Ward, and she said, they've looked at it, they had looked at it in the firm from which she came, and just looking at it in raw numbers, of the young practitioners who come through, about 50% are female. By the time you get to partnership level, it's about 25%. And I think for the females who do reach that level, they do it without a great deal of time off work, and that does become the issue. If you're going to maintain a high-level practice without taking much time off work and have a significant family commitment in particular, you need an enormous energy load.
When I spoke to Janet Coombs, she referred to Kathleen Trevelyan as one who, as she put it, had her lifestyle arrangements well organised. And it does seem to be absolutely critical, even though that was many years ago, but quite clearly people like Kathleen Trevelyan must have recognised that early on, that in order to succeed in any meaningful way, that was going to have to be the case. And it does, as you say, it remains a real problem and a real dilemma for women in particular, the work-family balance. How did you achieve it for yourself? You are married and you have children.
I'd been at the bar 10 years before I had children. So I had a practice which was established, and I had an income. I had quite a good income, thank goodness. And I was able to afford a nanny. In those early years, if I hadn't have had a nanny, I could not have done it. And indeed, when I was appointed, I'd only been a silk for 3 years, and I was becoming unbelievably busy. And I had 3 young kids, quite young. The youngest was 15 months when I was appointed to the bench. And it was becoming, I was almost feeling as though I was needing 2 nannies, not just 1 nanny, because I used to have, sort of anyone here on weekends. I thought weekends were family time, etc., but I was becoming so busy. And it was a very difficult decision for me to make, to accept an appointment at the time that I did. And if I wasn't so busy, if I didn't have the 3 young children, I don't think I would have made that decision at that point of time. But at least by going to the bench, it gave me a structure which I didn't have otherwise. And the structure was actually the amount of leave that I had. Now, having always been at the bar, I was always used to having January off. I can't contemplate the world without having January off. But we do have good leave conditions at the bar. At the bench, and on the bench, including a sabbatical, and that's been sort of enormously helpful to me. For example, all my children are now through their high school certificate, but I used to take a 3-month sabbatical, to which I was entitled, and which I had accumulated, in the months around their HSC exams, just so I could really, not so that I could be here to help them, but so that I myself would not be so tired. And, the household could just flow without that, etc. But you have to have a lot of help. If you're going to have family, you have to have a lot of help at the bar. It's the only way. And I don't know that I would have taken 3 months sabbatical if I'd still been at the bar around about the time of the children's HSC. Perhaps I would have. Perhaps my practice would have been more, sort of even more solid at that stage. I would have been silk of many, many years standing at that stage had I stayed at the bar.